Chris usually waits for us to finish. Now you're good.
Okay, we good? Thank you, everybody. This is the work session for the June 27th planning board. We do have 4 members here. One member who's supposed to be on the way for attendance. So we will, I guess, we can start the work session. I noted in the planning board agenda the resolution of recognition for Loretta.
You did know that. Was not perfect.
So I was figuring we could open the meeting with that and also recognize Abby as our permanent member.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So I was figuring we could start out with that right at the beginning. I guess we do have first application, which is 115 Women's Court Street Historic Site Review.
Sure, and I apologize, everyone. I have done my best to watch the meeting from last month. I know, Jim, you were absent, so was I. I've watched as much as I could. I did watch this one, but my memory is a little rusty on it. But to the best of my understanding, you guys were mostly just requesting elevations to see what the finished.
Yeah, we had no information on elevations or the extent of the project, so.
Right.
Yeah, essentially how it I remember how it connected to the house being kind of an initial concern. We had yeah, there was some photos of the existing structure and then an elevation of a typical, but it wasn't a final design yet from that person. And I think it was Kurt who brought it up that we've requested similar things from people in the past. And so it would be in line with that request.
And so this month she has provided that elevation. That's the only new material we have. I don't believe she has decided on exact models, doors, windows, etc., but she does have the brand and style generally described.
Yeah. Also tried to reiterate a concern that you had for our conversation about the garage being habitable space.
Yes, so that will obviously impact things. If it's a habitable space, there will need to be egress, and you may want to ask if there's any
Well, there's a
impacts
zoning
to
issue,
design.
so.
Well, zoning issue too, yes.
I think we just alerted her that it might,
Yeah.
that there were going to be potential issues with the the building office that they might have to take into account, but she said there was no plans to make it livable space, I think, but I think they were going to run electrical and potentially water and sewer, so that way it could be in a potential future.
She has expressed that she has no intentions at this time to make
Yeah.
it livable space.
I did share that, it wasn't the focus of her application before the planning board, but there could be potential implications of that issue.
Now, Jim and Rick, now that Jim's back, are you resuming chair on that, or are you gonna let Rick continue to chair that item?
No, this is good. I have no problem with Jim doing it. It's really just a continuation as you read the material from the original application. So it's just evolved. Logic story.
That'd be fine either way.
Yeah.
So
So again, not much new on that, just the elevation provided.
I've generally gone through the information as well. Our application, some of which is new. So, okay.
Oh, sorry, the other new item on that one was that we did receive the SHPO response after the last meeting. And the SHPO response was essentially no adverse impact to historic resources.
Which is a positive.
Yeah.
For the application. Okay. Questions? Tom, before you walked in, Kurt, the action today.
Yes, I did hear.
Okay.
That's fine.
We're sitting in on that. So if there's no other comments on that, we do have item number 2, which is 2-1066 Court Street. Project.
Yes. So this application, it's new, this application is new to you guys this month. The project, you've seen this address recently. They were here for the chimney siding
Okay.
replacement a few
Same
months
house.
ago. Now they are requesting to replace that roof that they had discussed at that meeting. It is an in-kind replacement of an existing asphalt roof. So replacing the existing asphalt with matching asphalt.
Different contractor.
Nope, same contractor.
Same contractor.
Same guy, yeah.
Dan Hamby.
He's acting on behalf of, I guess the house was foreclosed on, and so it's an investment company that is authorizing the repairs.
We do have a SHPO response that it's, again, not an impact to historic resources.
Where did we leave off on the chimney?
It was approved.
Did they remove no?
It was-
The improvements or whatever.
It had been, I think, they were just replacing the siding because they said that the chimney was not a contributing structure from the existing application, and it had gotten separate permission from the city because it was a safety hazard.
So the city removed the chimney.
The city paid, yeah.
So is that different from the chimney in the picture?
No, it's the
No.
same, it's the same one.
So it's an old photo. that they used for that, for the roof.
Must be. I have the pictures with me.
Yeah.
It was an online.
Yeah. it's
Yeah.
on the drop off.
These photos.
I probably just did that to show you just.
I presume, but I wasn't sure.
These ones?
Yeah. So
That's a different chimney.
that's
The
a
other,
different chimney.
yeah,
So
the other
what-
chimney was up against the side of the house, not,
Yeah,
not-
That was my recollection of it as
penetrating.
well, but I
Yeah.
want to see the picture, like, just to ask them, you know, chimney wise, the plan of just cutting away the flashing, redoing everything.
yeah, that's a good question.
Once you get into it, you start ripping away.
Pretty much how it evolved the last,
Yeah,
because there's a foundation under that part of the gym.
The other
With the one that
was,
I think we were,
yeah, this is what he told us. He showed us, he had told us that there was basically no underlayment underneath that roof at all, so. But he didn't think he would get into any of the architectural details on the side, but I mean, if you've got no underlayment, my guess is you're gonna have some water and structural issues.
yeah, on the west side of the building is chimney that I thought that
Yeah,
we were referencing, that white chimney. It's on an exterior wall.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Right now, I wasn't sure about the one that was in this photo, so now we're seeing this different.
Yeah,
Okay.
but I think both chimneys should be part of the conversation, because he had to repair where the other chimney came out of.
Once again, if you look at how that's all flashed and whatever patch they've got there. It's a question.
so would we be asking him on the original inventory form? There's notes about notable features, and so are we asking him essentially to ensure that he's preserving any of the notable features that are marked along there in the course of repairing and replacing that roof, essentially not to damage anything that would be considered notable. And the only thing I guess I could see is if there's a molded cornice.
Rip stuff off and takes off fascia and other things.
Yeah.
Like that's where the question comes down.
Yeah. Well, I think you had recommended that he try to get with you as much as possible to talk about how to do this and in what order, so that way. Because he was talking about doing the port, he had to do the siding and then he was doing the roof, but he's also talking about the porch.
The porch is
I think.
already approved.
No, the porch was approved as well.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was, that's actually got a historic approval from about like 2 to 3 years ago.
Oh,
it's-
okay, so
it
that's already
stays
good.
with me.
I see.
Given the condition of the roof, I'm surprised she didn't approve that
The,
in the first of
he did tell us that if I remember correctly, he did tell us he was gonna be back with
the.
Yeah,
like sort of,
it's kind of like they authorize a certain amount of work and money per
Yeah, that's a good
couple
point.
months or something.
Probably
and then
right. Yeah.
It's a separate
So
contract.
they've been owner constrained.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if based on this, it's still in the plans, a year from now, we're talking about windows.
Yeah.
Well, the first appearance, the person that gave the presentation, Mike Arch, who has since passed away.
Right.
And that was the porch and the columns, we got into that conversation. with the columns. Then it evolved into what we're discussing now. But to a different person. Presentation.
But the gentleman that made the last presentation.
No, the first one.
Okay.
Okay,
Two-
the
2,
last
3
one
years
was
ago.
The contract.
Last one was just the contractor. Yeah.
Before was.
Was the.
And that person's estate has been picked up by the person who's appointed. That made the last presentation.
Might be a financial institution.
Yeah, that's what he said. Yeah, that's what he said.
Well, any other staff comments you discussed?
No, there's no departmental comments on this, and no staff concerns.
Any other comments from the board?
I guess the only staff comment would be, if you're concerned about any damage to historical features, maybe I would recommend that you potentially include a condition of approval if you're inclined to approve, that they must file a plan on how they intend to preserve those features.
I guess the only other question with that is whether the board is comfortable with like preserving kind. If they're in the middle of construction and they're ripping stuff off and, half the fascia goes or some other piece of molding.
Yeah, this is the kind of potential deterioration that we lose structures from this roof.
Yeah. So I personally think a condition to, there's wood rock or something, that's a molding or architectural feature that is replaced in kind, that
Yes.
construction.
I would agree.
And that type of information would go to your office. It wouldn't have to be represented to the board, would it?
Correct, it would, in my mind, it would give the building department the ability to say, okay, this condition was at least identified,
Yeah,
and they don't have to send it back to us.
that makes sense. Yeah. If we state that it can be replacing kind.
Correct.
Got it.
Can you just scan through the other photos?
Okay, of this property?
Yes.
Yes. I don't know how to. I was just like scared for a second. I was about to close the whole thing. This I feel like I only have these 3 photos.
Oh, okay.
Is that two sets of shingles? That's one color. And they have another color underneath. So those are two layers of shingles.
No,
No, I think it's the same.
I think it's gray is the color
It's
that's
just, that's,
the lap, and then brown is exposed, so where you see the gray, it's where the lap would peeled off,
it all peeled off, okay.
you know.
Serious deterioration.
There it is.
It's kind of windy around here.
It was a really windy winter. It's odd.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, those are the only 3 photos we have.
Good.
Good. I guess. The last application, which is item 3, planning board application 22-11. It's a minor subdivision. Been in front of this board.
I think it was 2017 was the last time.
I think the overall that circular property is
Oh,
different
yes.
phases. So anyway, Sharice, you had a pretty good summary.
Just a brief summary of it, and we can go into more detail when we go to the regular meeting. It is a proposed subdivision of what is currently 2 lots, so they would be merging the 2 lots and subdividing them into 4 lots. There are significant questions about the utilities crossing all throughout the property. There are utilities belonging both to the town and the city crossing through the property, and there's a significant number of them. From a zoning standpoint, it does comply with the zoning code in every way. So from the standpoint of the planning board and the zoning code, it meets all criteria that it needs to satisfy. There was one potential concern on one of the lots that the driveway might need a variance. They did revise the plan slightly. So the one that was in your packets is the old plan. The revised one just had a 3-foot buffer and a note on the plan stating that it must have a 3-foot buffer for the driveway to avoid that variance. So that's the only modification to the plan that's taken place. We have had an interdepartmental meeting on this specific project. DPW had a significant number of concerns and suggestions and recommendations. Those are included in the staff report on page 2, which is dated, I just noticed, November 2021, and it says Dahl, and I apologize. But it does have their 4 comments. MLD also had a comment regarding load calculations needing to be provided to that office. Environmental was concerned about where the city utilities were versus as of right now, they are proposing to tie into town utilities.
The MLD question, in my mind, because they were doing it on the basis that a transformer would be necessary. That transformer can't be located on public land that's owned by the city of Plattsburgh because the corporation line is the property line. Therefore, if MLD has to keep the transformer within the city corporation property, then it's going to have to be located on one of those lots that will require a further utility easement. So that should be a question. How do they intend to distribute electricity throughout utilities?
Yes, yeah, and that might warrant a condition that, a sketch approval condition that they must coordinate with MLD and present that in their final plan. Initiate that conversation with MLD of where and how they intend to locate those utilities, those electrical utilities.
I'm just curious if it's a further encumber the land by creating an additional utility easement on all 4 lots.
It may,
It may.
it may. Very well may.
Imagine their options are limited anyways because they're on the town-city border right there.
Yes,
Is that which
this is the eastern boundary, it's the town city.
does the town-city boundary there? Okay.
Plus, there's a southern boundary as well.
You guys on the southern side on the Connecticut Road side?
This property is faced the town of
Platte, yeah.
Right, yes, over here, yes.
Okay.
I also have a question about force main.
Yes,
There is a force main on,
yes,
do you have highlighted as to which it is?
yes. Here it's this green line.
The green one?
Yes.
Yeah.
There's a manhole. This manhole belongs to the town. And we can go again into this into more detail when we get to the live meeting, or we can do it now, whichever you prefer. But DPW does have concerns about this manhole. Specifically, there's a line here in yellow showing a connection to that manhole. The yellow line belonging to the city. It is DPW's belief that it does not tie into that manhole whatsoever, and that it likely follows something more along this red line and connects down here into a city line. So there are questions about the locations of certain utilities on this, as shown on this plan by both the town of Plattsburgh and the city Public Works Department.
The other utilities, are they NICEAG or are they town of Plattsburgh?
The force main belongs to the town of Plattsburgh. The city line right here is a city sanitation line. I believe sanitation. So that's city, this one's town, and those two, the location of both of these are in question.
What about the other utilities that are identified? You have a
This
good
one.
illustration.
This one,
Yeah.
so
It shows
these,
like that
I
blue
bel-
line.
I believe there was a question of the location of these ones as well, the dark blue sanitation lines. The purple and blue, I believe, are newly proposed lines right here, or newly proposed connections. The purple line is what they're representing as the city sanitation line, which the city is saying it does not tie into this manhole. DPW has recommended potentially a manhole roughly in this location right here, not that red dot. That red dot is meant to indicate that there's an easement or a user agreement necessary to benefit M7 as it's crossing into M6. But a proposed manhole somewhere roughly in this location for lots M7 and M6 to come down into the city line was proposed, and then to have these M9 and M8 kind of cross and come down as well. The proposal, DPW recommends that they tie into the city's utilities, which are more to this western boundary down here at the bottom of the screen.
You say they recommend, they're not required, but it's.
Not required, but as is noted in the staff comments and DPW's comments, they recommend that you have a letter from the town accepting their proposal to tie into town utilities, which is what is currently proposed.
Do we have town correspondence?
We have not received correspondence directly from the town. That would be for the applicant to coordinate with the town directly and provide that notification from the town to the board that they accept it and accept the proposal to tie into town utilities.
So when we're looking for the applicant to confirm their final mapping of utilities and then provide
The
letter
certification
to
from the town.
town and
regarding that.
DPW coordination.
Yeah, and coordinate with Public Works directly on the sanitary sewer line down here. Right now it's in purple and that other map was in yellow.
Do we know who owns the storm sewer, which is the blue?
The light, the dark blue,
Yeah,
city, I believe.
it's all city.
How much of that was related? They just did a big
Dark blue,
drainage,
yes, belongs to the
the
city.
big drainage project coming off of Connecticut back onto Route 9 there. Is any of that torn up as a result of that?
If anything, potentially this purple line right here, the
One.
sanitary sewer line of the cities, or there's a sanitary line, I believe, right here of the cities as well. So that might be impacted by that work, but I don't know
Yeah.
the details of that.
I was just gonna say, if we ask for that, they might have better knowledge just because they did that. That project's been done so recently. I wonder if any of that was surveyed as a part of it.
I know in our conversation with Public Works, it was indicated that they had gone through this manhole recently and there were only the connections from the town into the manhole. So that's why they're very confident that this line does not
It's
tie
not
into it.
accurate.
They suggested they could go in the manhole and come down to find how far away this one connects to this line. This line does connect to the manhole. So they could go in and try to find where this connects. But they're confident that it does not connect to the manhole directly.
You said they're planning on connecting to all town utilities, or was that only for electric and gas?
No, that was for, I believe, right here, these two lines right here, the water lines.
Okay.
Sanitation. Sorry. I'm getting lost between all the lines. Okay. And we are at, I think, 5:58. My eyes are beginning to fail me.
We do have a. So,
Yes, so it would be a sketch resolution to accept the sketch drawing and to classify the subdivision as a minor subdivision.
any other questions? Application for home?
I have further questions, but they're gonna be lengthy and like to give the applicant the opportunity. Then I have an opinion, so. My opinion is based on city, requiring lots to front the public way. And in this case, the public way happens to be owned by the town of Plattsburgh. The city should not be requiring, because they can't provide the public access to utilities on the public way, that the developer should have to go through the additional expense and create additional easements over other properties that would just add to the easement nightmare.
If I can add, I'm sorry, there was one other comment that Public Works in our conversation did indicate. They indicated they had spoken to the town directly, and the town was willing to allow work in the road, in the public right of way,
Okay.
for them to tie into the cities, to come down and tie into the city's utilities, but not to tie into the towns.
I'm sure Scott will explain.
Figure it out.
Yeah. That's my only thoughts.
Okay, any other thoughts? If not, I believe it's almost 6 o'clock, within 30 seconds, so. Anybody need a break at the moment, or? If not, we'll go right into the regular meeting. Call the regular planning board meeting to order for Monday, June 27th, 2022.
United States of America, which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, before we have roll call, we do have changes in what's on the agenda a little bit, so. Who was the regular member of Loretta Rasmussen, the restaurant, who resigned over the last month. Shalice, if you can read the resolution. Gratitude of service.
Sure. So this is resolution 2022-A, expressing appreciation and gratitude to Loretta Rietzma for exemplary service as a member of the planning board of the city of Plattsburgh. Whereas Loretta Rietzma has served with distinction as a member of the planning board of the city of Plattsburgh since 2019 and has retired from service as of June 2022. And whereas Ms. Rietzma has given generously of her time, knowledge, and experience in a dignified, faithful, and professional manner, and through her service has made outstanding contributions to the welfare, safety, and quality of life in the city of Plattsburgh. And whereas Ms. Rietzma has earned the respect of her contemporaries on the City of Plattsburgh Planning Board and among the staff within the Community Development Office and other city departments. And now therefore be it resolved that that the Planning Board of the City of Plattsburgh thanks Loretta Rietzma for her years of service and expresses its appreciation and gratitude for her admirable service and many contributions to the City of Plattsburgh and its residents. And further be it resolved that the Planning Board decrees that Loretta Rietzma be furnished a copy of this resolution, which is included within the minutes of the June 27th, 2022 City of Plattsburgh Planning Board meeting.
Thank you. Do a motion. Motion by Ray, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Reg. This can also act as our roll call for the meeting since we have 5-member board here. So roll call.
Jim Abdullah,
Yes.
Rick Perry,
Yes.
Reg Carter,
Yes.
Abby Musser,
Yes.
Tom Cosgrove.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Also, congratulations to Abby, who was
Thank you.
promoted to full member of the board.
Congratulations, Abby.
Moving on with the monthly project review, item number 1 is planning board application 22-09, 115 4th Street Historic Site Review.
So this application was before the board last month. I apologize again that I was not able to make it last month. So the project is located at 115 Court Street. It's a historic site review, application 22-09. Request to demolish and reconstruct an existing attached garage and mudroom with new carriage house style design on a property located within the Court Street Historic District. The property is zoned RH and its tax map parcel ID 207.19-5-18. The applicant and plan preparer is Sharon Santry. Here we have a map showing that the property is located in the Court Street Historic District and that it is zoned RH. It is up there on the corner of Court and Wells Streets. And here we have a site photo of the northwest frontage of the building. In the very rear here, you can see a portion of that garage. Right. And here we have a view from, I believe this is Wells Street. And this shows again the garage in better detail. This is the garage. You can see that it's got some deterioration showing that is proposed to be demolished and rebuilt. The garage was not an original feature of the house. It was a later addition. Ms. Santry can add the year when she presents, but I believe it was in the 70s. And since the last meeting, the board had requested that the applicant provide an elevation sketch showing what the elevation of the garage would look like and how that mudroom would connect to the main house. That has been provided by the applicant. Also, since the last meeting, we have received a response from the State Historic Preservation Office. Their response says that based on this review, the office has no concerns regarding the proposed demolition and believes the proposed new construction is appropriate in massing, materials, and styling and will not adversely impact the historic resources surrounding the historic district. So I will hand it over to Jim, and if you'd like to hand it over to
Actually, I believe the applicant is probably next on board to make your presentation.
Well, I did present a schematic of the proposed door, which was the question at the planning board last time. I was asked to come back. You were all worried about what that back door was going to look like from William Street. And as you can see, the right-hand wall is the exterior rear wall of the main house. Now, if you look at my original application, the exterior wall with the hexagonal window is what is there now. However, it has no foundation. There's actually a notch. This door will be approximately 5 feet back into the original exterior of the house, and we actually have found subsequent to the meeting, an original brick sidewalk that connected a door because the exterior door frame is still there in that back hallway. And a subsequent owner added on this mudroom with no foundation and the hexagonal window to fill up that space where there ordinarily would have been a staircase down to the sidewalk. And that would have connected to the carriage house. And also the larger back porch that's going to be constructed that has already been through your system.
Okay. Board have questions?
I just have a question on the foundation of the garage. It looks like maybe CMU block is kind of the structural base, but what are you anticipating would that actually be? or look
The
like?
original foundation is still there. All we want to do is demolish the wood, the rotted wood siding. I believe it will be poured concrete to whatever specification that the building department is going to tell us we need as far as load, roof load and wall load. So whatever the building department says we need for code is what we will do.
What's the exterior finish over the CMU or the?
It will be clapboard all the way down to the foundation. It would probably be a type of stucco. It will not be cinder block.
Right.
No, definitely not
Right.
cinder block. If there is any concrete that's going to show, it will be a textured,
Yeah,
a textured concrete.
sure.
Yeah, not cinder block.
That's what I anticipated.
No, there's no
Just kind
cinder
of
block.
clarify.
No.
You mentioned that there's going to be a poured concrete foundation. So we're taking out the existing structure, taking out the existing foundation.
No, I'm sorry, not
Okay.
the entire foundation, no.
Just the
The
wall.
the sills are rotted, and as a result, some of the perpendicular foundation
Mhm.
has crumbled.
Okay.
So that all needs to be shored up according to what the building department is going to tell us.
And that's going to extend out on that mudroom as well.
Oh, yeah, well,
you-
there's already foundation there.
Okay.
That's the original
I see. So
foundation.
the current foundation that would be even with the front of the garage.
Yes.
There isn't one there, but further back there is.
Exactly, and
Understood.
that's the
Okay.
very, very original foundation to the house, which is granite.
Granite stone.
Mhm.
Okay.
Any other questions?
I
We
think
did have a conversation about that being habitable space, and, I'll just reiterate that it's not this board, it's not up
Right.
to this board to make that
Right.
determination. So
exactly. Mhm.
I just don't want to give you any misguidance.
No, that's fine. And the door will be an exact replica. If I can't find one, there's a historic door and window company that will match anything that we're going through for any that we might be missing. So it will replicate all the other original doors in the house. It won't be a fiberglass door. It won't be, it'll be a mahogany or a oak or whatever.
Is it safe to assume that almost all your finishes will be that?
Oh, yeah, well,
Complementing.
actually, we're very fortunate, not a lot of finishes have been ruined. I mean, the entire interior is magnificent. We're very lucky, except for the vandalism of the staircase balusters that were kicked out and yellow spray paint down the banister. But apart from that, and then some latter day electrical work that was done in the baseboard, which shouldn't have happened. That should have been done somewhere else. But apart from that, no, everything is pretty well intact inside.
No other comments. We do have a public hearing associated with the project.
And we have no participants.
I will, I guess, open the public hearing for comments if there's anybody in the audience.
I'm all for it.
Duly noted.
He's my best cheerleader. By the way, my Facebook page has 1,500 followers in the city and outside and throughout the United States. So, and a lot of very, very positive, positive feedback. So that feels good.
It's great.
I started following.
You're following me? Oh, yeah, you are, Abby, I see. Right, so you see, I try to post twice a week.
Yeah.
To keep the momentum going of everyone knowing, because I find that doing something like this in a community, if there's any sort of secrecy, there's always sort of a little bit of fear, well, who is that person, where did she come from, what is she doing, or they, or whatever. So that's why I started the Facebook page, and I had an open house, and people who lived in the neighborhood walked through, and they were just really, really happy, so.
No further comment. I'll close the public hearing. Have a seeker resolution 22-09A.
That was in last month's packet, so it's not here. The packet.
It was on
It's on the job.
the Dropbox. Okay.
Would you like me to go to the EAF first?
Please.
Okay, so I will read each of these questions. If no response is heard, I will check no or small impact may occur. If the board feels otherwise, please speak and discuss further. Will the proposed action create a material conflict with an adopted land use plan or zoning regulations? Will the proposed action result in a change in the use or intensity of use of land? Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of the existing community? Will the proposed action have an impact on the environmental characteristics that caused the establishment of a critical environmental area? Will the proposed action result in an adverse change in the existing level of traffic or affect existing infrastructure for mass transit, biking, or walkway? Will the proposed action cause an increase in the use of energy and it fails to incorporate reasonably available energy conservation or renewable energy opportunities? Will the proposed action impact existing public or private water supplies? Will the proposed action impact existing public or private wastewater treatment utilities? Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of important historic, archaeological, architectural, or aesthetic resources? Will the proposed action result in an adverse change to natural resources, for example, wetlands, water bodies, groundwater, air quality, flora, and fauna? Will the proposed action result in an increase in the potential for erosion, flooding, or drainage problems? Will the proposed action create a hazard to environmental resources or human health?
This is where I should ask the Kurt question, because since he's not here, given the age of the structure, you said it was the 70s. Do you have any indication of whether there's lead paint or asbestos anywhere in the building?
I don't think there's lead paint. I would have to let you know.
Yeah.
I'm sure that, when we go for the actual demolition permit and reconstruction permit, that will be addressed.
Yeah, that's all I
So,
wanted to bring up.
Yeah, it was built in
just-
1976.
Okay, so you should be past the lead paint and most of the asbestos, but I just wanted to bring it up because that's
there's
something that we bring
there's
up with
no
structures of that
asbestos.
age.
I
That's
know
good.
there's no asbestos. There's nothing. There's like
got
plywood.
it.
It's, yeah.
Yeah.
It's just a very, very raw structure.
Okay,
So hearing none, I will further complete part 3 in coordination with the chairman.
Thank you. Again, we do have a secret resolution 22-09A based on the part 2 findings. Do I have a motion? Motion, Reg, do you have a second? Second by Rick. Roll call
Discussion.
or discussion. Does anybody have any further discussion? Okay, roll call.
Rick Perry,
Yes.
Reg Carter,
Yes.
Abby Musicker,
Yes.
Tom Cosgrove,
Yes.
Jim Abdullah.
Yes. Motion.
I just realized that the language on the agenda is wrong. I apologize.
I see that. So we do have a resolution 22-09B to accept the application. Do I have a motion.
You say B?
22-09B.
You said that the language is wrong about the subdivision.
It says.
Yeah,
it's,
the subdivision language is
subdivision.
wrong. It should say motion to adopt project resolution 22-09B.
Got it.
Just strike the subdivision.
I tried to exclude that.
Yeah.
Verbiage. So resolution 22-09B.
I'll make a motion to accept the resolution as written.
Motion by Tom, do I have a second? Second by Abby. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Reg Carter,
Yes.
Abby Musicker,
Yes.
Tom Cosgrove,
Yes.
Jim Abdullah,
Yes,
Rick Perry.
Yes.
thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thanks, Sharon.
too. Okay, item number 2, this is planning board application 22-10, 66 Fourth Street Historic Site.
So this is application 22-10, 66 Court Street. The applicant is sealing the Ben Preparer Dan Handy Construction. Dan Handy is here to present tonight. It's a request to replace existing asphalt roof with an any-kind asphalt roof on a historic building in the Court Street Historic District, zoned RH. Tax map parcel ID is 207.19-2-22. Here we have a map showing that the property is located at 66 Court Street within the Court Street Historic District. And these are a few of the photos provided by the applicant showing the current conditions of the roof. Here we can see the color of the roof and the existing asphalt shingles have been severely deteriorated. We have received a response from SHPO. Their comments were that based upon their review, they have no comments or concerns regarding the proposed roof replacement. I will hand it over to the applicant.
Welcome back.
Yeah, here we are. We got to start on the porch, so let's see if we can get the rest of it. So we're here to look to replace this as soon as possible. Five Brothers has put a tarp on a certain portion of it, but it's still not protecting anything. It's been leaking for many years, I would imagine. So if we can address this as soon as possible, it would be much appreciated.
In the one photo here, obviously you have a different chimney from the chimney that we had.
Yeah, obviously, we don't have a chimney.
Yeah, we don't have any special consideration on this chimney or? you
Well, I
think
think it just
you-
needs to have proper step flash to put around and maybe be pointed up, you know, and make sure that it's secure. I think it's actually fine. You know, it's pretty steep. I didn't really get up against it, but we'll get a better look at it to make sure it's pointed up right. Chance of falling. I'm pretty sure it's in good shape. It seemed like somebody had worked on it once before. But yeah, I think this thing.
They fix that and ignore the roof.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, you know, I just don't know what's going on here, but This place is desperate for help. And then, of course, I'm just a third party in this program, so I'm here addressing what they need. But the other roof looks identical to it. But we don't have much of a shingle, you know, look down here, but plywood. Everything, the roof is just. So we're gonna be looking probably to replace some plywood as we go along. I did get a good look underneath. On the back side here, you can't get through because they got a wall, so, you know, we're not seeing any mold or anything growing underneath or any water stains, which is funny because the house has been leaking for some time, since I've been involved, about a year now. So this has been sitting here like this, so up in the right corner, that's that little cricket that was on the other fireplace on the farther roof. That has to come off. We discussed that the last time we were here. So, and I knew you were, pretty sure it was you that was worried about the crown mold.
Yeah.
Crown mold is gonna have to have some addressing around the whole building before the drip edge goes on it, so that's another discussion I have to have with them, but that seems pretty common, that crown mold. It's a 4.5 inch. And I can either get it milled to match, but it's missing in several spots. You just can't put the flashing over or the drip edge on without air and stuff. Better picture of that, I don't think. It's more in the front, down on the lower edges, so. Yeah, we're gonna have a match to make it what's there. We're not gonna change anything. So really, I think the biggest requirement on this is gonna have to have a ridge vent put in it, and that will stop these roofs from doing what they're doing. So that will bump up a little higher. But that'll help the roof breathe. So I think that's what we're looking to accomplish here and to protect the inside from further damage. So they can go forward on the repair work on the inside to get this turned over to whoever is interested in buying it. But you know, you can see this is those. A little bit of rafter work and so forth. So nothing too crazy, but we'll figure it out.
You have solid sockets,
They are solid down below.
so ridge vents the only. You have gable vents or?
No vents on this place.
Is there any insulation in the roof for Adam?
There actually is, but it's on the ceiling. So they have it down on the ceiling. That's probably all gonna have to come out. Sure, it's not in good shape. The interior is gonna be a whole nother chore. It's probably quite a bit of expense gonna happen there, so. We're looking to protect the building from any further damage, so. They put a tarp on the one side. I don't know what the reason was that for, because really the whole roof is had it. So the back portion of this building is not part of this process, which is flat roofs. It's just the two upper roofs. So there is an extension off that property and it's roll roofing, so I don't think they have any leaks down there, but I'm sure something will have to be done later. Hopefully they'll put another box warrant on them to be sure if that was permitted. So, you know, just being honest. My question is this right here. And we'll match the shingle. That's basically what we're trying to accomplish.
Any other questions? Address the chimney, address the.
There's the molding in kind,
In
yeah.
kind.
Those are the, you know, the identifiable issues that, you know, as other issues come up that maybe unseen at this point.
Yeah, and that's basically gonna be like, you know, how much rot is there, you
Yeah.
know, so it's gonna be basically plywood, maybe cistern rafters if some took too much water. You know, we'll take a better look and address this around this chimney. Obviously, this is lifted or dipped, one or the other, so something's gonna be going on there with repair work. And basically get it stable enough though. It's, you know, we're not gonna put it on and then, you know, hold the shingles. That's that property.
It would probably be within, you know, the, in the better nature of historic preservation. You know, anticipate that there are going to be other issues.
Oh, I'm sure.
And, rather than you come back every single month for each of those issues.
Yeah.
We'll probably draft some language within the resolution that
That works.
helps and gives the building department some.
Yeah, and I think it's more in the repair of plywood. You know, when I'm up in the attic and looking at it, I don't really see rot going on anything else, just on the exterior. Identifying, obviously, the plywood's been quite abused from the water. You know, we're gonna have to see how far they want to take it. You know, hopefully it's just repair. If the plywood's not acceptable, take the shingle, we're not gonna do it, we're gonna replace.
Okay, well, if there's no further comment, again, we do have a public hearing associated with this application.
Mr. Chairman, okay, nothing, no question for you, David. Can you back up one slide, because I gotta come in with BHSN. Back up one more, what do we gotta do for historic preservation?
Are you on the corner? Are you on the corner? The brick building?
BHS, Behavioral Services.
Yeah. What
What do you gotta do for historic, for OPRHP?
Oh, this
So
one
was there
right
a
here,
slide there?
this one?
Yeah.
So it's basically just a CRIS, CRIS submission, is that what gets this response to you?
Yeah, so when you submit, when a historic site review application is submitted, our office will refer it over to the
Oh,
state.
you refer to
We do
CRIS?
it.
I don't have to do it.
You don't have to do it.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thanks.
Any help we can get.
Oh, sorry, what was that?
Any help we can get. Everybody help each other here.
We'll open the public hearing. Is there anybody online?
No participants.
No participants? No one else has any comments in the audience? Okay.
You got nothing to say?
So we will close the public hearing. We do have a seeker form. The application. So if we can, run through the part 2 of this.
Sorry, 1 second. Okay, similar to before, I will read each question. If no response is heard, I will check no or small impact may occur. If you feel otherwise, please discuss with the board. Will the proposed action create a material conflict with an adopted land use plan or zoning regulations? Will the proposed action result in a change in the use or intensity of use of land? Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of the existing community? Will the proposed action have an impact on the environmental characteristics that caused the establishment of a critical environmental area? Will the proposed action result in an adverse change in the existing level of traffic or affect existing infrastructure for mass transit, biking, or walkway? Will the proposed action cause an increase in the use of energy and it fails to incorporate reasonably available energy conservation or renewable energy opportunities? Will the proposed action impact existing public or private water supplies? Will the proposed action impact existing public or private wastewater treatment utilities? Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of important historic, archaeological, architectural, or aesthetic resources? Will the proposed action result in an adverse change to natural resources, for example, wetlands, water bodies, groundwater, air quality, flora, and fauna? Will the proposed action result in an increase in the potential for erosion, flooding, or drainage problems? Will the proposed action create a hazard to environmental resources or human health? And having completed part 2, I will coordinate with the chairman to complete part 3.
Okay. We have a secret resolution 22-10A. Part 2. So. Motion. For the secret resolution.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Reg. Second. Second. By Rick.
Jointly with that.
Yeah. Do I have any further discussion?
Abby Busifer,
Yes.
Tom Cosgrove,
Yes.
Jim Abdullah,
Yes.
Rick Perry,
Yes.
Reg Carter.
Yes.
Motion carried.
And then we have a project resolution 22-10B. That's the application. So. Encourage anybody looking at the resolution. Clarifications that based on discussion.
You can add that to the discussion and conditions section of the resolution.
Well,
You're looking for the resolution?
no.
Yeah, it should be just before the SHPO or the,
Just before the SHPO letter.
yeah.
I'd like to make a motion to approve resolution 22-10B. Adding in the written resolution that should any additional comment, should there be any work that may be questionable as to whether you should come back to this board or not, without giving carte blanche authority to anybody else. I think if reviewed by Shalice, Community Development Office, the Building Inspector's Office, in the exercise of their discretion, which doesn't deviate from the standard practice because they are the authorities that technically pass issues to the planning. So any issues that may arise, other than deviating from the historic features of the property, I would say that they would have the authority to entertain what you would be.
Now we're talking about the building department.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Just to, however you want to phrase it, it's.
What I captured just now was, should there be any work that may be questionable on whether or not to come back, that may be reviewed by the community development and building inspector offices, and they may exercise their discretion not to deviate from the standard practice for historic review.
And that will be my motion.
Perfect. Appreciate it.
Do I have a second?
Seconded.
Second by Tom. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Tom Cosper,
Yes.
Jim Abdullah,
Yes.
Rick Perry,
Yes.
Rich Carter,
Yes.
Abby Musa.
Yes,
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
good luck.
You guys have a good day.
Thank you.
Final application, item number 3, this is planning board application number 22-11. So Connecticut Road, lots M6 through M9, southern.
Okay, to sit up front, Mr. Chairman.
Surely. Plenty of open seats.
So this one.
Okay.
Okay, so we have here item number 3, application 22-11, the Musso Connecticut Road lots M6 through M9 minor subdivision. It's a request for a minor subdivision of tax map parcel IDs 233.8-3-18 and 233.8-3-19, combining the 2 lots and re-subdividing them to create 4 new buildable residential lots located at Connecticut Road, zoned R2, and we have already gone over the tax map parcel numbers. The applicant is Musso Properties LLC. The plan preparer is Scott Allen of AES Northeast. Here we have a map showing where the property is located. Now it's winter. The property is highlighted in blue, and right along its eastern edge is the town city boundary. So it's located within the city, and just to the east is the town of Plattsburgh. Over here, we have Kansas Avenue intersecting with Connecticut Road, and here we have DeRocher Auto. This is a picture of the property, a site photo looking, sorry, I'm so confused. I'm so used to looking at the site map, but north is not at the top.
I think it's like northwest.
Thank you. My goodness. And another site photo right here, looking roughly in the center of the property, looking at the property. So here we have a zoomed in section of the site photo, or the site plan, excuse me, showing roughly the lots. There's a lot going on here, so I did break it down into some colored images trying to break out what's going on here. So we have each of these 4 colors represents one of the 4 lots. At the top is M9, orange we have M8, green is M7, and this here it looks pink, but I think on my computer it was more red. M6. So those are the 4 lots. Here, outlining the lots are the property boundaries for each of the lots in blue, orange, green, and red. The dark gray represents the buildable area according to the setbacks under the city zoning code for the 4 properties. However, due to all of the utilities running across the properties, the buildable area is actually represented in this image right here. So these are the sections of buildable area on each lot, as shown in gray on the plan submitted by them. But here we have it showing colorized to show the 4 lots in the buildable area for each of the lots. Here we show the various utilities running through the property. There are quite a few of them. So there are utilities with easements running across the property all throughout. Here in dark green, we have a force main belonging to the town of Plattsburgh. The dark blue represents the storm sewer lines belonging to the city. The purple line represents the sanitary sewer line belonging to the city, with these purple connections showing where they plan to connect. The manhole right here is owned by the town. And the light blue, I believe, is the water connections, and yellow is NYSEG. And here it's just, we're back to the site plan photo, just to refresh us on what the site plan looks like without all the utilities and colorizations. I'm sorry, with all the utilities without the colorizations. Here, in preliminary conversations with the Public Works Department and in their preliminary conversations, informal conversations with the town, It has been noted that the location of certain utility lines as shown on the map are in question. Both the town and the city are not certain that they are where they are shown on these maps. The force main in particular is in question, belonging to the town, as well as this yellow line right here connecting to the manhole that belongs to the town. The city believes that it comes across more across that city sanitary lines text box, which I think I have a red line. Yes, coming across approximately where the red line is. There were some other questions here. I believe that if the plan is to be approved as shown, this connection here on M6, the city would like to verify that see an elevation or of some kind showing that it will connect without separation of solids versus liquids, and on how it will, something with the grading. I apologize. I'm trying to remember this. The grading to make sure that it's not going to have separation of solids and liquids as it collects into that line. The city Public Works Department had an informal recommendation that's not, I believe, in your staff report packet, but an informal recommendation that a manhole be located approximately in the front of M6 here, with all of the lots connecting to that manhole before coming down into the city utilities down below. As of right now, I believe lots M9 and M8 are connecting into the the town's utilities.
If I may, Chairman.
Sure.
Back up just a little bit. What was the recommendation?
From the city,
Yeah, it said manhole.
a manhole approximately right
On
here,
that main,
and then to bring these down to connect to it.
bring them right down along the street boundary more or less. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Yes.
I think you had another photo of that, didn't you? I thought we were looking at it at the beginning. Of the meeting.
Yeah, instead of crossing.
The one that had the
street,
red dot on it.
just
I
come
thought so,
down.
yeah. I thought there was another one.
I think,
Yeah, I guess we would call it a main.
This one?
Yeah, there it is. That's where, yeah.
so
thanks.
approximately here,
Yeah.
that red line, that red dot is actually meant to indicate that a user agreement would be necessary. to
Oh, sorry.
benefiting
Okay,
M7.
sorry.
So if we stick in this here of main versus the lateral. From that new manhole, we would extend a main up to the south line of M9. We would consider it a main because we have more than one lateral tied to it. And we would kind of turn that over to the city's main. So there's no issues among property owners. Grant the city an easement and then, yeah, I see what you're saying, yeah.
And and in an informal discussion between the city and the town, it was
Yeah.
indicated that the town was open to doing a road opening permit for you.
That makes sense, yeah, we'll explore that with,
I'd just like to get clarification on that because conveying that main to the city is an important factor in agreeing to do that. That would have to go through, could you tell us the steps to?
It would have to be
convey that?
discussed with Public Works, which they've already discussed and are clearly
Okay,
in support of this type of idea. It would also have to go through Dean for review, through Corporation Council for
is that
review.
approved by the city council?
It may need to be, yes, likely,
Yeah,
most
because-
likely approved by the Common Council
Because
to adopt.
they're gonna install the sewer main
turn it
and
into a-
convey it to the city of Placer.
Yeah, we're gonna dedicate, so that will involve common council action.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, gotcha, I'm following. Yeah.
Scott, so there's a lot of questions and comments about utilities. Are these utilities surveyed utilities?
Yeah, as
or-
much to the degree possible, yes, where there's a structure above ground, that's shot by survey. Now, if you notice that force main that comes down, there's no appurtenances or structures that rise to the surface. So we're pulling that off the tab drawing. You guys remember the old Plattsburgh Air Force Base tab drawings, the TAB drawings? That was their inventory of utilities, so we're pulling that information from the tab. So yeah, No, there may be some verification needed. If that's a town force name, then we'll ask Scott, not Market Force, and we'll get that squared away.
I'm not familiar with the project from prior, so are the top two lots what originally was one lot and the bottom two, or no, are the new lines separating the four lots different than?
Shanice's got a slide that shows the parent parcels.
Do I?
Do you?
I
think it was what that was.
Oh, yeah, right here.
Oh, yeah.
So these are the parent parcels. The line is not separated, so
so-
it's not exactly like two made out of this one and two made out of that one.
Right.
It is a redrawn.
It just seemed like such a waste of space, you know,
Sure.
to only have two residences on that much acre.
On that much acreage,
Sure.
it's just hard because the frontage is so narrow relative to the rest of the area.
And we're compliant with
So-
the zoning ordinance.
Yep, they have complied
So it looks
completely
uphill.
with zoning, including the note that was added. Actually, I can look back. Nope, I'm sorry, it's not
So-
here. It's on the. I'm gonna switch out of this really quick.
I'm just curious, I mean, I guess this doesn't really have bearing on where you're at now, but why subdivide it to four separate properties with all that space required for easements or setbacks, instead of just having like two family dwellings, townhome style, you know? I don't understand why, I guess it's money and
It's
development.
basically it's an economic decision.
It's an economic decision,
Sure.
makes
Okay.
it way more complicated.
It's complicated, but
Maybe, I'm just looking at the
dollars
utility,
are dollars.
yeah, maybe the utility
Some of-
easements
You
there
know, some of
too.
us depend
They're
on,
all in the back.
some of us depend on these types of developments to provide those dollars.
So Scott, the sewer that serves this area, does it all end up in the pump station that the town is rehabbing right now, just to the east? Or,
No, it basically goes to the pump station in the upper right corner, Vanaker Road. See that's pumping, see that green line,
yep,
that green line is pumping into the city. It all goes to the city, but
it all. So
there's a meter, there's a meter there, that's the arrangement between the town and the city, that's how the town charges the city through the meter station. It all ultimately comes to the city.
So is there another pump station down on the,
There's another pump station down on Route 9, to the upper portion of this drawing.
That's right off the one that they just rehabbed with all the,
That's where all the construction.
had been going on.
That picks up the land on the east side.
Yeah.
so this is a different pump station than this
Yeah.
first one?
The water supply is a town water line right now.
Yes, I believe that's a town water line and that there's more,
And
city one
there's
down.
no objection from the city, or is there?
There's no objection from the city in an informal conversation between the city and the town Public Works Department and their water department. It was indicated that the town might not be open to them connecting to their utility.
Okay, and that would be up to,
Yeah, that deal was
To you.
worked out.
okay, you
Backward Park subdivision, and the deal between the city and the town
yeah,
was worked out at that time to make sure that all of this land, to the extent possible, was developed. Or would be served by utilities.
So is there like an existing legal framework outside user agreement that codifies that? Or-
I have to go back and research that, but I know it was discussed back in the 2003, 2004 era. When the annexation of town to city lands occurred. During the Park subdivision, the reuse of the Plattsburgh Air Force Base lands. Those agreements were put in place to ensure that all lands would be developable within The zoning ordinance, respective zoning ordinance.
So that's probably something to coordinate as part of the final plan to make sure that that's.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll provide some documentation for the town.
Okay.
Make sure that everything is documented.
Now, Scott, you're on the storm sewer, which sort of comes from all different directions. I guess, do you have an opinion on?
Well, that one, the storm is usually pretty accurate because we can actually survey the catch basins, the inlets, the grades.
So does the town own the section that comes from Connecticut and then goes out into the town? The city owns the other two coming in, or is it all city?
Yeah, I think that flows toward the lake.
Yep.
Or to the, upwards on the storm. Should look at the marker, just to make sure. Where it's east toward the lake. So yeah, that storm line continues by virtue of an easement that the Air Force supplier when they installed that storm sewer.
My understanding, Jim, is that belongs to the city, from what I've understood from Andrew.
All four.
All four.
The storm lines are relatively straightforward in that because, as I say, you have the catch basin or manhole to actually locate the field. Force mains and water mains are a little more nebulous to find.
I guess one of the questions, do you plan on using any of the storm for any of your site drainage or?
The structure that is there is definitely not going to be buried up by any means. So, since last look at this, tends, concentrate about those dark blue lines. Yeah, those dark blue lines. And all
That's actually a large concrete basin, probably 8 feet by 8 feet. It's got openings on all sides, about a foot high. It's capable of taking in obviously a lot of storm water. That entire area drains to that sound.
I was gonna say the pipes, albeit they look like the same pipes that are like 12 inch up away, but they're pretty big storm sewers.
Yeah, it's a major junction. When I see the lake must be quite large of the yeah. That's at least 36. We did talk with the town and city, and any building we propose, we intend to stake out and then have both the city and town investigate the corners and where the actual buildings are. To be sure that we're not too close to their utilities.
That would be wise.
The town actually tried to find the force main that came out with their vacuum truck rather than excavating.
Yes.
The town couldn't find a force main. So we can only hope that it's first. We're stuck, so I really did try to do the best we can to avoid. Yeah, the force main, I'm not too worried about because our proposed footprints are so far away from most of them. And in the storm sewer, as I say, we're pretty confident of that by virtue of the structures, the grates that you can actually look down in and see a pipe headed toward the next one. Same sanitary. A lot of water mains out by the street, so that's not so.
So you're not planning on exposing any of that pipe or anything back underneath there? All of the earthwork would be done closer to the structures?
Yeah, if anything, we'll add a little bit of cover over it. But we
Yeah.
don't want to minimize the cover.
Yeah.
frost purposes.
No, I was just thinking, because as you said, there is a little bit of slope in that area. I wasn't sure what kind of gradation you might have to do to get that water away from the structures.
Everything will continue to flow into the main storm structure.
So
Where it's been built.
that juncture for the, like the 4-point
Mhm.
juncture there, so is that for me to understand that that's pipes underneath, but that's also like a graded thing that
Yeah,
it surface drains into that
Surface
as well?
inlet, that's
So
right.
if there's a clog or something and it backs up there, does that kind of become like a little detention pond
It
or
could, yeah, yeah. it would
floods
survive
up?
that.
Okay,
Yeah, the way Dennis graded these lots is, is to preserve that low area.
yeah, so they're all up about 4 or 6 feet there or
Right.
something, yeah. Okay.
The purple sanitary line. This illustration is not accurate with respect to that. Is that correct?
That is how DPW views it. They, as of right now, it's showing connecting into this manhole right here. DPW is confident that this line does not connect to that manhole. There's another sanitary line right here. That one they know does connect to the manhole. But there is not, they said that they've been through that manhole and there's not another connection. So they believe that this line probably follows something more like that red line right there.
Yeah, you know that, see that red line? If you look at the right hand end of that red line, what it may do is it may drop down to that manhole just below it, right there. I wonder if it goes in there.
That's
But,
very possible.
Yeah, but we spent a lot of time opening those structures. So.
Yeah, this is not an accurate representation at all. Just DPW knows that it doesn't connect up here and they believe it comes over
I
here.
think it's
somewhere.
further west.
But I get what they're saying, and, yeah, I think that could save us a whole lot of hassle. We do what, we recommend, not the man.
Yeah. Scott, how would you handle utility easements for that sanitary? Because to access the red line, you're gonna have to cross property lines.
And so, yeah, and if, let's see, that is M4. You see the yellow box that says city sand lines?
Yeah.
The lower left corner is over M4. And I believe you still own M4. You know where I mean? This lot right here. Whoops, I'm sorry,
That's
M5.
M5.
Yeah, M5, I must have missed. Yeah, we still have ownership of M5, so we can create an easement for M5.
Okay, so you have it over M5, but to connect to that line from the triangular lot,
Yeah, because then.
show me how you would intend to access the red line.
Well, from way up there. Yeah. So basically what we would do is, we would install a manhole in this location, this day.
Okay,
And then we'll run a city main straight up toward M9.
okay, and then tie it directly in from each line to that.
Yeah. And we'll create a main and then just run laterals.
I mean, Scott, aside from the other utilities, spacing, that type of thing, probably the biggest consideration is whether or not the town's gonna allow that as a main in their right of way, or you're gonna have to have it as an easement on the backside of the lot. I mean, that's just a coordination with the town. I
I
don't
think I
know.
could wrestle with county accepting that in their right way. I'll try.
Yeah,
Yeah, I see. Basically the same. Yeah.
Just for the record, I'm sorry, is that manhole that you're looking at, is that gonna be on M6 or M5?
Well, we're gonna have to firmly establish the location of that red
Yeah.
line. Actually, I'm gonna do that, I'll get Scott, from the town last time. We gotta get coordinated, like, the three of us can get out here and figure out exactly where that is.
Scott, my
Four
other,
of us, kind of not.
yeah,
Okay.
Scott, my other question is the unspoken utility, and that's the electrical distribution. Do you have a vision as to how you would expect to see that? Because it seems without crossing corporation lines, the electrical distribution is going to have to create more utility easements.
Yeah, what we've done throughout the subdivision is, generally, what we've done throughout the subdivision, when it's the vacant land, is, we did PMLD 15 feet off the edge of the highway boundary. But if you notice, MLB's got this right of way. Here.
Yeah.
So they may want to feed these from the back, so it's another coordination issue that we'll have to do with Joel.
Okay.
Those sort of nice thought is that back transformer they may pull back block the other, behind, but stay in the property. Reason for not down Connecticut, I think, so we're.
Yeah. Along the corporation line to the east of these lots. Down through there. Yeah.
Yeah, you do that. Yeah, we'll coordinate with Joel.
And that won't create a right of way that's any larger than the right of ways that already exist. If you can have two utility right of ways in the same area. Seems like you should be able to.
We'd be running the setbacks anyway, so.
Yeah.
Scott, is there a sidewalk along the front of this frontage or no?
No sidewalk.
Yeah, there is farther west on Connecticut. Looked on the aerial photos.
I'm assuming your application doesn't plan on putting one in.
Nope.
You have to get permission from the town to do that.
The only thing I think is definitely there should be coordination with the town during this process. I mean, we do have a complete streets program, which I believe the city is also part of as well. That coordination should probably be at least be discussed, the department level. Specifically, probably with the town's planning department.
Sidewalk end right at the intersection of Kansas and Connecticut.
Okay. Is there any other restrictions on this property at all? You don't have like no basement restrictions or like
No basements at all.
no basements
Right
or?
now, about 5 feet, is that gray molding clay.
Mhm.
Rolls and bucket.
Yeah,
Some of the conditions there are really, you really can't put basements in. That's part of the. That's part of the old gas station. corner of Maine and New York.
New York and Kansas.
New York and Kansas, yeah, the old gas station. Yeah. I think that enveloped this entire section, and that's good.
So aside from the soil conditions that don't allow it, it comes with the other restriction.
There's institutional control. Institutional control.
Yeah.
The what?
So there's a trail of contaminant that crossed Kansas
Mhm.
into most of it, if not all of it's been cleaned up, but it still carries.
Yeah, when the airbase sold land to the county IDA, which then transferred to Park with Richland, which then transferred to private ownership. The Air Force took what they call institutional controls on the sale of the property, restrictive covenants basically. And I believe the one that says no basements includes this property as well.
Are homeowners allowed, or property owners allowed to install pools or anything else that includes excavation?
I don't recall a restriction against in-ground pools. But I know there's a restriction against basements. So they have to be slab on grade.
Well, is there a homeowners association in that part of the base as well, or not on that part? Okay. I say they would potentially limit something like a pool, maybe even, but not if it's doesn't go down that far.
For your information, and this goes back to some historic knowledge.
Mhm.
Scott was the designer of the subdivision that divided out all of the airbase property
Mhm.
and conveyed that to public use in cities. It's been a little history with all that land.
Rick was a zoning board meeting with me, told about 1/3 department. All of the variances we had to accommodate in order to draw lot lines on it's historically known as the old base. Got existing buildings, existing driveways. In order to subdivide that, put it on the market, we have to draw some lot lines. Every time we draw a lot line, it would require its own variance. Going through that whole laundry list, the hours.
A single person.
Yep.
You did well, Scott.
That's my gray hair stuff.
Questions or comments? Any questions for us?
Oh, we'll get back to you with some tips. Oh, I gotta have you.
We should give a 1 week extension for the frame project, I believe. Where are we in time, or date? Sorry, I've lost those sense of days and time.
Yeah, I'll save you an email, Shanice, and you can tell me right now.
I want to say we would need it by this Friday to get on the July agenda. But we could probably do,
Can you give us a little more time? Just slip them on here. 60 days, so 30 days. Well,
We-
what
we
what
could
can
do
I
the
do for the August meeting?
we could do the 8th of July, if that's enough time.
Okay, July 8th, and then the following one, July 8th
Or July, I think it's 29th for the August
or
meeting.
July 29th, okay. Take a little time to coordinate with the town.
Yeah. Especially with the holiday.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Let's see.
Well,
Hey, yeah, great job with the agenda and, yeah, the proposed resolutions. It was nice to see them. I haven't been to the planning board in a while. I've got the packet in a while, but what I received for tonight's meeting was really nice and actually easy. I'm sure you're all responsible. for doing that.
Thank you.
Tough one to work with.
Thank you, I'm not gonna lie. It was a hard one to look at.
so we do have a sketch resolution,
Yes,
adopting a minor subdivision, and the recommendations of the of staff and discussion here. So motion for sketch resolution 22-11.
Do you see this as a conceptual, let's move it forward kind of approach?
Correct.
I'll make a motion to approve the sketch resolution.
By Rick, have a second. Second by Abby. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Jim Azella,
Yes.
Rick Perry,
Yes.
Rich Carter,
Yes.
Abby Musipper,
Yes.
Tom Costello.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Thanks, guys.
Take care.
Be safe out there. A lot of folks. Yeah. Having a great time right now.
Okay. Other business, Julie, do you have any updates?
The new planner will be a new planner has been hired.
Yay,
They will
alright.
be starting July 25th, which I believe is the date of our next planning board meeting. So I don't know if she'll be attending on her first day here or not. Alicia Bartlett is our new senior planner who will be starting. I'm excited. Other staff updates, right now, the parks events are underway. I didn't get a chance to update you. I wasn't here last month. But we have already held two. This is to gain public feedback on potential investment into the 5 of the city's major parks. I believe it's South Acres, South Platte, US Oval, Blumet, and Penfield.
Yeah.
Next event is Penfield, I believe, on July 7th, and then I think July. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm totally gonna get the date wrong, but I believe it's July 21st or 28th is South Acres. But just keep an eye out. It is on the Facebook, the City of Plattsburgh Facebook page. It's on the city website as well. But we encourage you guys to attend and provide any feedback for public parks investment and what you'd like to see, what you don't like to see, what you enjoy, and et cetera. Harborside has been undergoing their planning committee meetings. I don't remember who from the board is on that. You're on that? No, sorry.
Yeah.
So we just recently had a meeting, I think last Friday.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I noticed. So I think is Kurt on that one too?
He is, I don't
I
know.
don't think so.
I don't think he is.
Okay, so Harborside is underway. Our next meeting will be, I think, sometime in mid-July for discussion of the Environmental Learning Center. So far, we're pretty pleased. We had a great turnout at the library, at the public library, for the last public meeting for that. We have so many planning projects going on right now. Comp plan, that one's kind of in limbo at the moment. It went through the most recent set of committee comments. There were revisions made and revisions still need to be made. Okay.
Not you.
I think Rick's on that one.
You're on that one, right?
Yeah. Currently.
Kurt's on that one. Okay. But hopefully within the next month, we'll have an update on that one for you guys. And I think that's everything.
Do you know the background of the person that's going to be the senior planner?
I only know a little. I know that she had worked at HAPEC for a while, Housing Assistance Program of Essex County. She ran their housing rehabilitation program there. So she, in terms of the community development office, that is one of our directives. So she has experience with that. I believe she's currently a zoning board or planning board member in the town she lives in. I think she lives in Willsboro. So she's on that board there. And she's currently director of a nonprofit in Ticonderoga that assists in community development or economic development. Jim, I think you might know Alicia. Can you provide any background? Because I think you probably know her better than I do, just looking at her resume.
I was gonna say, I know through payback. Provided that assistance for housing program. I was coordinated with her. She was, yeah, she was it was that group that they had like half the contracts to do. State. And she
I think it's Pride of Taekwondo River is a nonprofit she's at. I'm excited, somebody with lots of relevant experience, and I'm
Yeah.
excited to get some help under your belt in your office.
Sure. How long has it been since you've been without a planner there?
Ethan left in December,
Okay.
at the end of December, so
Alright,
since January.
6, 7 months, yeah.
And Ethan was, I love Ethan, baby planner for 4 months, I think, after Melina left. So it's felt like it's been since
A year.
Melina left last
Mm.
June or July.
It's been a semi-vacant position for
Almost a year.
almost a year.
Yeah.
Well,
You've done well.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, there's no other discussion, I guess, the motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Second by Tom. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
We don't need a roll call. right?
No.